Peace. What up? How y'all doing? Um, coming live tonight, man. Want to break some stuff down. Want to deal with a couple of topics. Topic one I want to deal with is concerning the law and laws in the Bible. Seems like a lot of people have complications about that. Topic two, something just happened, which is called Labor Day. And there was a lot of what you call bacchanal and revelry and whorery and all these different things going down. So I want to break that down from the Apocrypha and from the Bible, showing you that these things was done in the ancient days and in the ancient times. These things was done in the ancient days and the ancient times. And you got to watch what you're doing, man. You got to watch what you're doing, and you got to be clear. Okay, so I'm going into the Apocrypha. I'm going into 2nd Maccabees, the 6th chapter. 2nd Maccabees, the 6th chapter. Also, I want to show you a great book that further helps to build the Bible, to show you the truth of the Bible, the history of the Bible, what makes the Bible true. Okay, so this book right here is called The 12 Caesars by Michael Grant. Now, the 12 Caesars breaks down, okay, 2nd Esdras. So when you go into 2nd Esdras, in the Apocrypha, once again, when you go into 2nd Esdras, the 11th chapter, see that? See the 11th chapter? That breaks down Rome. That breaks down Rome and the 12 Caesars. It's very important for you to understand that. Okay? So it shows you that the Bible is historically correct. It shows you that the Bible is historically correct. For you to understand the Bible, you must study the many different sciences. History, you must study religion, you must study law, you must study architecture. There are many different sciences that you must study in the Bible for you to get a well-rounded understanding of what this book is about. It's just not one book. Okay, so once again, a great book called The 12 Caesars. See, in my library, you know, from the elders and them back in the days, you know, I went and got the books and I saw how it applied to the Bible. And I saw how, being that I always loved history, I saw how it applied to history. Okay, and the factuality of, you know, museums and stuff like that. Okay, so we're going to go into this, and then I'm going to go and deal with law. So what went down recently, yesterday, actually, Monday, it was called Labor Day. But in the island of Trinidad and Tobago, and all the islands now, and Brazil now is spreading. Toronto, Miami Carnival, a word called bacchanal. Bacchanal comes from the Greek god, the Roman god Bacchus. Comes from the Roman god Bacchus. But where does this come from? You have to study. You have to study. And you see the things that you do is from the same white people that you say is not your gods. So their forms of slavery and revelry and all these different things, their forms of slavery control you. They control your mind, they control your holidays, your whatever. They control it. So let's go into the Apocrypha, into 2nd Maccabees, the 6th chapter, And let's see what it says. Let's see how when you do Labor Day and you do Carnival, Trinidad Carnival, whatever, you are following false gods and you're following the heathen. It says, not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not live after the laws of the God, of the Lord, and to pollute the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius. See that? So we were supposed to call it after false gods. Jupiter, dealing with the Greeks. Okay? And that in Gazarim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwell in that place. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people, for the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots. So on Labor Day, what do you deal with? Your women become whores. Your women become whores. They go out in the street and they have practically no clothes on. You can grind on them, feel them up. That's what Labor Day is all about, harlots. And to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, and besides that, brought in things which are not lawful. Also was filled with profane things, which the Lord forbid. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath day or ancient feasts or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. Okay, so we've lost that now. We don't consider ourselves to be the Jews. We consider ourselves to be black, African American, all these different titles, West Indian and all these different titles. Okay? And in the day of the king's birth, every month, they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus, see that? Here comes the word Bacchanal. So in Trinidad, me coming from that island, you know, I remember that word really well, Bacchanal, because the word Bacchanal represents an orgy of food and fun and festivities and drunkenness and lasciviousness. See that? Bacchanal, coming from the god, the Greek god, Bacchus, was kept. The Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy. Ivy is a plant that you wrap around. Okay? Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighboring cities of the heathen by the succession of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be taught partakers of their sacrifices. See that? So the things we do now that still carried to this day through Rome. See, because when the coming of the Greeks with Alexander the Great, and then it just moved on to Rome. Rome just kept up the same things. Okay? So I want to show you one more piece to that. I want to show you one more piece to that. So this is where we get a lot of our holidays and things that were our festivities that we do now. The name just changes. Okay? The name just changes. So we're still under Esau's rulership. Now if you go back in the Apocrypha, if you go back to First Maccabees, when did Esau come out to rule? The first Maccabees, the first rulership of Esau, the so-called white man, is the first book of Maccabee, right? And it happened that after Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, kings of the Persians and the Medes, and he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. So here comes the Greeks. The Greeks is the third beast, as we read in Daniel, the 7th chapter. Okay? There were 4 beasts. The Greeks is the third beast. Okay? So the first beast was the Babylonian Empire. The second beast was the Persians and the Medes. The coming of the Greco-Roman Empire is under Alexander the Great. And went through to the end of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Wherefore he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. So this is what the Apocrypha is showing you, historical truth. So the Bible is not dealing with any religion. This stuff is found in museums. So you're daydreaming if you're dealing with some fantasy, some theory, okay? The 12 Caesars is not a theory. These are the rulers, just like you have the different presidents. The word Caesar is no more than a king, okay? So just like you had President Obama, President Trump, Biden, Bush, that's the word Caesar. That's all you're dealing with. It's just a name change for the Greco-Roman Empire. Now let's look at these cats. Let's look at these cats. These are all Caucasian, or what you call Edomites. Okay, so the first one was Julius Caesar. The second one, right, you have Augustus Caesar, Octavian, Augustus, and that's what the popes in Rome is called. Then you have Marcus Agrippa, right? Then you have Tiberius. You have Tiberius. I'm going to show you all these pictures of these Edomites, what you call Europeans, and you're going to be clear. Then you have Caligula. Then you have Claudius. Okay? These are Edomites. Then you have Agrippa. Right? You have Nero. You have Seneca. You have Galba. You have Otho. You have Vitellius. These are all Europeans or Edomites, just like you have presidents and kings. Then you have Vespasian. Now Vespasian is very, very important. Then you have Titus, because the destruction of Israel under Jerusalem in 70 AD came under Titus and Vespasian. So in the 36, you're going to see the brass corn of Titus celebrating the suppression of the first Jewish revolt. That was 70 AD. And then the last one you have is Domitian, depicting the war of the war god Mars. So I'm going to show you all these pictures. Okay? So I'm going to show you all these pictures of these false, these leaders of Rome, right? Show you how they're all European, right? So we're starting with the first one, Julius Caesar. See this? This is why this is very important. This is Julius Caesar. Bang. The next one. Look at Julius. These are all Europeans. These are Edomite gods. They rule Rome. They rule Rome. This is Marcus Agrippa. You must study history. The Bible is a historical book. Stop daydreaming. Get off your philosophies, your theories, your religions. It has nothing to do with the Bible. This is Tiberius. Bang, what are you looking at? White people. Here is Caligula. Bang, Caligula. Here is Nero. These are world famous men. Movies are made about these men. So it's showing you the truth about the Bible. Seneca and Galba. I've looked at many movies of these men. Here is Otho and Vitellius, all Europeans, Caucasians. Here is Vespasian and Titus. Now, I want you to take a real good look at this coin right here. See that? This coin is when they minted it of your destruction of Jerusalem, of which Christ spoke about. Christ spoke about that destruction. Okay, let's go into the book of Matthew. Christ, Matthew the 24th chapter. Christ spoke about that destruction. Matthew the 24th chapter. Right? And he says, the 15th verse, he says, and when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whosoever readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains, and let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, because it's going to be cold, neither on the Sabbath day, for then shall be the great tribulation. Such was not from the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever. And except those days be shortened, no flesh shall be saved. So when did they attack? When did the Romans attack? Under Vespasian and his son Titus. See that? Titus and Vespasian. Look it up. Look it up. Okay? The brass coin of Titus celebrated the suppression of the first Jewish revolt. Okay? Of the first Jewish revolt. So these are the 12 Caesars. Now, let's go in the book of Luke. Let's go in the book of Luke. Let's see what Luke says. Look what Christ said in Luke. Luke 19, verse 41. And when he had come near, he beheld the city and wept over it, and saying, if thou hadst known, even thou at least in this day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes. For the days shall come upon thee, that thine enemies. So who's the enemies? That thine enemies shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round about, and keep thee in on every side. So in Matthew, he gave you one part of the prophecy. In Luke, he's fulfilling the second part of the prophecy. And shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee. And they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation. So he was given the prophecy. But why did this happen? Why did this prophecy happen? Because we became enemies to the Father. We became enemies, and the Father opened the door for Esau to step in. Let me hold that right there and prove that. Let me go in the book of Lamentations. Let me go in the book of Lamentations. Lamentations, the 2nd chapter, the 5th verse. This being that you call God, that you say is your father, became your enemy. Lamentations 2 verse 5. The Lord was an enemy. See that? He has swallowed up Israel. He has swallowed up all her palaces. So Jerusalem, which was our palace, was destroyed because the Lord allowed them. He has destroyed his strongholds and has increased in the daughter of Judah mourning and lamentation. He has violently taken away his tabernacle as if it was a garden. He has destroyed his palaces of the assembly. The Lord has caused the solemn feasts and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion, and has despised in the indignation of his anger the king and the priest. The Lord has cast off his altar. He has abhorred his sanctuary. He has given up into the hand of the enemy. So what Christ was prophesying, Jeremiah had already seen it coming. So the Lord was moving against us in 70 AD. He was using the Gentiles or the other nations as a weapon. The Lord has purposed to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. He has stretched out a line. He has not withdrawn his hand from destroying. Therefore, he made the rampart and the wall to lament. See that? Let's further go into that. Lamentations, the 5th chapter. Let's break it down. Lamentations, the 5th chapter. Remember, O Lord, what has become upon us, and consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. So these people that you sleep with proudly are aliens. See that? They're aliens. They now live in our houses. They now live in our houses. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. So they have taken our stuff and they sell it back to us. Our necks are under persecution. See that? Our necks are under persecution. You gotta work, 9 to 5, 7 hours, 9 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, 16 hours. Your neck is under persecution. We labor and have no rest. You work in 16 hours, you gotta go home, and then you gotta get back up to work 16 hours again. You labor and you ain't got no rest. We have given the hand to the Egyptians and to the Assyrians to be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquities. So now this generation is suffering from what was done. We have borne their sins. Servants have ruled over us. These people are servants. So you're probably saying, well, how is it that they can be servants and they're still ruling? Because it is prophecy. What prophecy? Let's go back. Let's go back into Genesis. Let's go back into Genesis and watch the father of Esau. Genesis 25, verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated one from the other. And the one people shall be stronger than the other. And the elder, which is Esau, this man, he came out first, shall serve the younger. We came out second. So servants, now in Lamentations, Jeremiah says, and servants have ruled over us, And they still ruling over you. They rule over you in everything. Everything. Your clothes, your money, your thoughts, your school, your education. Everything you do, your laws, every lie that they set up, you go for it. They rule over you. Your money, your credit cards, your debit cards, they rule over you. And servants have ruled over us, and there is none that deliver out of our hands. So what does that mean? We have no leaders. We have no leaders. All your leaders in Congress is a bunch of sellouts. You have no black leaders whatsoever. None. None. None standing up. We got our bread with the peril of our lives because of the sword of the wilderness. Our skin, listen to this well. Lamentations 5 verse 10. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. So where do you get white people? Where do you get Caucasians, Europeans from? Our skin is black, man. This, that. See that? They ravaged the women in Zion and the maids in the city of Judah. So they slept with our women. They raped our women. When they came over here, they raped our women that was over here. When they brought us in slave ships, they raped our women. They raped us when we was in slavery. And they still raping us now when we ain't doing nothing about it. Princes are hanged up by their hands. The face of elders are not honored. See that? They took the young men to grind. Work. And the children fell under the wood. The elders have ceased from the gate, and the young men from the music. The joy of our heart has ceased, and our dance is turned into mourning. This is the madness that we are still under, man. This is Jeremiah breaking it down in Lamentation. The crown is fallen from our head. You know, we always talk about we kings. What kings, man? Who you king over? Who you king over? Who you ruling? You ain't ruling nothing. When the white man says shut down, you shut down. Pandemic, you shut down. That we have sinned, for our heart is faint and our eyes are dim, because of the mountain of Zion, which is desolate. Foxes walk upon it. Thou, O Lord, remainest forever, thy throne from generation to generation. Wherefore dost thou forget us forever, and forsake us for so long a time? Turn thou unto us, O Lord, that we shall be turned and renew our days as of old. But thou hast utterly rejected us, and thou art mad against us. So this is why we are in this punishment under these people. Remember, they just changed their name from Romans, and now they call themselves Americans, Caucasians, white people, Europeans, and that's who you sleep with. That's who you sleep with gladly. Miss Ann, Betty. Okay? Now let's go back into the Apocrypha and see about these people and close out on this topic right here. When you go into Second Ezra, when you drop back to Second Ezra, the 7th chapter. Okay. Now this is not my topic, but I'm just going to bring this out, and I'm going to close on this. They're going to bring the world into the Third World War. It's already prophesied. And you are going to rise up after that. Second Ezra, 6th chapter and 8th verse. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau was born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world. Not the destruction of the planet Earth, the end of his empire. Through his nuclear bombs and his religions, this world, this empire, this American, European empire has to come down. For Esau, these are Edomites, Europeans, Caucasians, is the end of the world. And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. You are the beginning. The hand of the man, which is nations, is between the heel and the hand. The other nations is in between these two. These are the main players. You and the so-called white man. They're going to come down, and Christ is going to bring you up. So we're going to deal on that in my next topic. With that, I say peace.